From the heart of Wayne County, this is Wayne Goldsboro Television, Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Today is Tuesday, it's the 12th of April, 2K16, and this is Wayne Goldsboro Television. I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kate Daniels.
And I hope you're doing well today on this
Yes.
Tuesday, whatever the day is. It's the umpteenth
12th.
day. It is the
12th.
12th. The 12th.
Guess whose birthday it is?
Elvis?
Not today,
No,
that I know of.
No, that was in August.
A great friend of the show, Cricket Davis at the Goldsboro Family YMCA.
Today?
It's her birthday.
Today is Cricket's birthday?
Yes, so if you see her, tell her happy birthday.
That's right. Are you supposed to pinch people on their birthday?
I don't think so. I don't think that would be very nice. Maybe
Well,
like a pat on the back. Do you know that
yeah.
I received an email from her several weeks ago and said for her birthday, in honor of her birthday, she was asking that people do something kind for someone else. Now, if you
That's
don't know
like cricket. That's just like
If you don't know
cricket.
cricket, that is cricket.
That is
That's
cricket.
pretty amazing. So that was her thing, is not to say, it's my birthday month, but to say, you know, April's my birthday month, and my birthday's coming up, and I would love it if you do something kind for somebody else.
Yeah. Wow.
It's pretty awesome.
You know, and maybe somebody else will pick up on that and spread that around a little
Yeah.
bit. Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't it be great?
But that's cricket. You're right. You're absolutely right. Let's see now. Today's the 12th, and coming up tonight at 6 p.m. at the VFW hut, and at the American Legion hut. I'm sorry, the VFW is having a meeting.
Thought that was a Volkswagen convention.
No,
VW.
no, it's VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, having their meeting tonight at 6 o'clock at the Post 11 American Legion hut in Dudley. It's a Dudley address. It's right next to the fairgrounds.
Can't miss it.
Can't
That's
miss
right.
it. Next to the fairgrounds, just beyond the cemetery there. And it's the VFW meeting tonight, 6 p.m. at the American Legion hut, Post 11, Highway 117 South. Also, at 6:30 this evening, at 6:30, the American Legion will have a meeting. That's at the DAV building on Mulberry Street. Between the post office and City Hall. American Legion having their meeting tonight at 6:30 at the DAV building. All right? Very good. Let's see what today is.
Very good.
Today's the 12th.
Yes, sir.
Today is International Day for Street Children. Street children. I don't know what that means, but I don't like the way it sounds.
Doesn't sound good.
Today is also Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day. There you go. It's also International Day of Human Spaceflight.
Okay.
April 12th. That's got to be something in human spaceflight. Dumb. Also, National, Be Kind to Lawyers Day. Now, who thinks up this stuff? Why would you?
You stop it.
I have a lot of friends who are lawyers. I do.
So I say there's a lot in this building.
There's a lot of them where we are right here, and I have to be nice to them. I have to be nice to them. It's also National Licorice Day. You like
Ew,
licorice?
no.
No?
No.
Okay. It's all chewy.
Ugh.
It's also National Library Workers Day. Way to go.
Oh, very good.
Out at the library there. We got a lot of fine people out there. It's Bookmobile Day. It is. And Walk on Your Wild Side Day. Woo, baby.
Wild Day, Tuesday.
Anyway.
This month is, the entire month is named Month of the Military Child.
Ah, okay.
And I certainly would like to think and hope that Wayne County is Month of the Military Child is every single month. But this month is special across the country as this designated time, Month of the Military Child. Now, I received an email from Jamie Livingood, who is the military counselor for all of Wayne County Public Schools. And Wayne County Public Schools is asking that this Friday, which is what date? I'm sorry.
It's the day after Thursday.
It's the day after Thursday,
Right.
but this Friday, wherever you're going, whether you're going to work, you're going to the grocery store, whatever you're doing, wear something purple. We want to paint the town purple here in Wayne County in honor of military children. And so this Friday, if you will wear purple, that would be wonderful. So, and pass the word. So Friday, we want to see a lot of purple all throughout, and it's called Purple Up. So if you're on social media, you can do hashtag. You're like, I'm not good at, you just do hashtag Purple Up, and you can type in Wayne County Goldsboro, and it's going to be neat.
Hashtag is a misleading name for that particular character.
How so?
Well, it's the correct name of that particular character is Octothorpe.
Can you imagine that?
It's an Octothorpe. I don't know where
Is that
hashtag
really what
came.
it is? So that's not what it's called?
Well, yeah,
Well, it is now, but
it is now.
But it's really called a what?
An Octothorpe.
How funny would that be if that's what we were all saying? Octothorpe?
Yeah, Octothorpe, you know, whatever. But it, yeah, just stick with hashtag.
That's funny.
But that's what it is. It's an Octothorpe. Anyway, no, we'll do that later. Anyway, and we'll do that later too.
Trivia?
Here's today's what?
Trivia.
Oh, trivia. Yes, that is not too trivia. It is trivia time. We'll talk and we'll ask a trivia question for you here, and then we'll give you the answer in the next part of the program. But something to think about. You may know the answer to this one. In what city in Ohio, and there's only so many, you know, in what city in Ohio will you find the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Ooh, do you know that?
Ooh.
I'll bet you do. Okay. In what city in Ohio would you find the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And here's a clue. The show Drew Carey. The Drew Carey show talks about it from time to time because that show is based in this city.
What Drew Carey show?
You remember Drew Carey show?
No.
You know who Drew Carey is?
Oh, yes.
Drew
He's
Carey.
funny.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's now the host of Price is Right.
No.
Isn't he?
I don't think so. Yeah, no. I don't
Well, he
think
was
so.
then for a while. Maybe not now. But see, I haven't
Wow.
seen that show
He is
because I'm busy
funny.
working.
I know. I don't
You
get
know?
to see it during the day.
That's right. But anyway, Drew Carey, he's a funny guy, and he had a show. He had a comedy show on TV for a while,
I do remember that.
and it was set in a city in Ohio.
Very cool.
Same city as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What city is it? We'll tell you in the next half of the program. Okay. All right. One more thing very quickly. The Drum Circle, Arts Council Drum Circle, getting underway on the 22nd from 6 until 8 p.m. The Drum Circle at the Arts Council at the corner of John and Walnut Street in downtown Goldsboro, 6 until 8 p.m. on April 22nd. And you will have a ball with that.
You will have a ball with that.
You don't have to be a drummer.
You don't even have to participate. You can just go and listen, which is
Yeah.
great. But if you're like, you get there and you want to jump in, you can jump in.
Yeah, anybody
really
can.
neat.
Yeah, it's really neat. It really is. We'll be back in a moment.
Today's guest served with the Marines, Kilo Company, 3rd Battalion, 3rd Marines, 3rd Division in Vietnam. His memoirs, The Never-Ending War, recounts the combat operations he and his unit experienced during their time there, including the struggles he faced during returning home, in dealing with PTSD, and readapting to home stateside. The book, written by his wife Laura, has gotten endorsements and accolades from many prominent military officials, to include retired Colonel Oliver North, who served with Ray and called him a warrior's warrior. At this time, I'd like to introduce to the stage your guest speaker, retired United States Marine Corps, Mr. Ray Clark.
Good morning. No, I'm not a warrior's warrior. Ollie was a very nice guy, and he was a second lieutenant in Kilo Company. He was second platoon. I was first platoon. But being small units, they know each other. Everybody knew each other, and Ollie's a good friend of mine today. And he's helped me with the book. He mentioned my wife wrote the book. Well, my wife co-wrote it. It's actually a combat memoir. Now, I will be honest with you. I've suffered post-traumatic stress for, 46 years now. We're coming back from Vietnam. We were in a lot of combat that year. We were up in the DMZ the whole time, and pretty much the whole time. And it was a daily operations. It was daily patrols. We lived in the bush 85% of the time, maybe 90% of the time. And so it was a life of trauma, really. And when you come back home, there is a post-trauma that comes along with it. My wife was generous enough to help me because I told her, I said, if people don't like the book, I don't want to get the hits for it. He said, let's put your name on there. I was like, okay. So if you don't like the book, tell her. If you like the book, tell me. Well, it worked good because everybody tells me the book is great. So she gets a lot of credit for that. But she is my closest friend. In writing this book, she's had to walk through some jungles. She had to walk down some trails, live through combat at night. And so our wives and all of us stood up today when he talked about veterans, and especially Vietnam veterans and Vietnam-era veterans. But I'd like for all of us that stood up a minute ago to stand up again, if you will. I want you to turn around and look at those back there. That's the reason we went. That's the reason we came back. They're the ones that need to be congratulated because they're the ones who prayed us home, a lot of these ladies. You can have a seat now. But thank you so much, ladies, gentlemen, that were here watching over us when we were fighting overseas, many of us. And so I appreciate you being here today. Vietnam lasted, they say 10 years, but actually it was about 15 years. From 1960 to 1975, there were a lot of men and women dying in Vietnam. There was a lot more back home supporting those people. I was called up to National Security Agency. That's where I was in Fort Meade, Maryland. 4-year duty station. But I joined the Marine Corps to fight, I thought. And I wanted to be a grunt, I thought. And I wanted to go to Vietnam, I thought, Colonel. I didn't know. I thought shooting at people was pretty cool. I didn't know they'd be shooting back at us. That changed everything, and so I went, Vince. I met some great people here today. I feel like I'm walking among giants when I came in here. Medal of Honor recipients, but even greater than that were wives who lost their husbands in combat. Women who've served their country in combat. That's pretty heavy stuff, I'm telling you. And I want to talk to you this morning not about the history of Vietnam so much. We all know the history. Not about the battles, because we've all fought battles, whether it was domestic or foreign. But I want to talk to you because I'm talking directly to Vietnam veterans. See, there's a grieving process that Vietnam veterans have. It's hard to move on. We had to fight an enemy overseas. But I remember after you read about it in my book, after some battle, or one battle, when we found out because we were on the DMZ and they were coming across there to go south, we found a lot of the weapons that the NV had plates on them, donated by a certain university in America. And we just lost 16 guys that day, too. Now, that knocks you upside the head. That hurts your heart. And so when you come back home, I have to say this, we felt like we were abandoned. We felt kind of abandoned. I think every veteran in here, Vietnam veteran, could say pretty much the same thing, because we felt alone. But I want to tell you this morning that you can take a child and abandon him somewhere, and the family leaves him, but that child doesn't have to die where he's at. He can move on in life, and people have done it constantly throughout history. They might have been abandoned by their families, but it didn't stop them from moving forward. And that's what I want to talk to the veterans about this morning, the Vietnam veterans especially. I want to thank all of you that have supported us, and you've been friends to us, and colonels and all these other military personnel. We've made it because you helped us make it. We didn't get here by accident. We're here today because we had to fight for what we wanted, and we had to move on somewhere in life. The way I talk about who I am sometimes, I'm nobody. I'm a dumb grunt. But I've been through a lot of combat, and so through that combat and writing the book, I've been able to speak to a lot of people. I go to Camp Lejeune several times a month, speaking to mental health groups. I go to Cherry Point, different places, any place will let me to come. And so when I go in there, I talk to them as a patient, as a survivor of post-traumatic stress. And being a veteran who's lived through some of this stuff, I'm able to connect with the ones coming back now. And I had someone, a therapist, tell me not long ago, and she's a very high, she has a high place in the mental health in Camp Lejeune. She said, the value that you carry as being a veteran is 100 times stronger than what we have. We know about it, but you know it from a different position. And veterans, you've got a position. You've been there. You've lived through it. You've done certain things. The men and women that are coming back today need you and need us to help them. The Vietnam Veterans of America was formed, and they have a slogan that says, "Never again will one generation of veterans abandon the next generation." And we have a responsibility to reach out to those folks. And that's a great thing that we have in our place. But the way I tell them of who I am, they said in North Carolina, they sent some social workers up to the mountains one time, and the lady was up there taking a survey. She knocks on the door of a cabin, and the little young girl comes to the door. The lady asks, "Is your father home?" And the girl said, "No, he's in prison." Said, "Is your mama home?" Said, "No, she ran off with the moonshine." Said, "Do you have an older brother?" She said, "Yeah, but he ain't here." She said, "Well, where is he?" She said, "Stanford." The one was like, "University?" It's like, "Yeah." "Stanford University?" Like, "Yeah." Well, they asked, "What's he studying?" The girl said, "Nothing. They're studying him." And that's me. You come back, you know, and it's like, I'm the one being on the exam table. But I'm saying, check it out, dude. I'll tell you everything you want to know. Because what we know, Vietnam veterans, is valuable to this generation and the other generations that came before us. Because they need to know who we are. We were fighters. We were warriors. We won that war. I'm going to tell you that. When you have to take 59,000 casualties, that's tremendous. That's too many, 59,000 too many. But your enemy took a million. I think we won the war. We won the war. We won every battle. It's just they pulled us out too early. Or maybe sent us in too late. I'm not sure which one it was. But we came back. We fought a good fight. We were Marines. We were airmen. We were sailors. We were soldiers. I met this morning Joe over here, the Medal of Honor winner. But I've known young Marines in combat that never got a medal. But they did heroic things because they offered their life to do certain things. And so that's what I'm going to talk about this morning. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about no greater love than this, that a man would lay down his life for his friends. And that's a tremendous thing when you think about it. But that comes from a mindset that started when the guy signed his name on the paper. He left home, he left families, he left school, he left everything behind him, and he moves into this area called Armed Forces. And he goes in, whatever branch he is, but you began to connect with people. You began to have certain camaraderie. You learn trades. You learn different things. You learn how to fight. You learn how to defend each other. And I know the Marine Corps because I was in the Marine Corps. Everybody in the Marine Corps is a grunt, basic grunt. They're taught how to fight. You may be cooking eggs, but you throw it down, grab a rifle, and you run because you've been trained to fight. All you got to do is follow orders sometimes. That's all you have to do. And so everybody, I'm sure that every branch is the same way. We're all basic fighters. We've been taught how to fight. Well, that brings camaraderie together. When you bleed with me or when you sweat with me, you are my brother. And so it's a mindset of people. You might have 4 or 5 guys standing in one place. Somebody throws a grenade at them, and one of them, usually the youngest one too, I don't know why that is, 18-year-old boys, I guess they think they're going to live forever anyway. They'll sail on top of that thing, wham, it goes off, kills the boy. He didn't want to give up his family. He didn't want to give up his life. He didn't want to give up everything he'd ever had. He didn't want to give up his future. But for the love of those guys and the protection of those guys and the defense of those guys, that boy jumped on that thing and he gave his life. Well, I think most of us can identify with that in some way, some form, some fashion. But there's another way to die also. And I want to talk about that because Vietnam veterans, not only do we have a responsibility, but we have an opportunity because we're still at war today. These airmen and different ones in here that are still serving, we've got to defend them. We've got to protect them. We've got to go for them. We've got to build up around them. We've got to encourage them. We've got to encourage their wives, their families. I talked to a Marine major Sunday morning at church. Never met him before. We got to talking. I saw his chin quiver a little bit when we were talking about some things. And I told him I wrote a book about it and everything, and his chin was quivering. And I just stood there for a minute, and he said, "I've been deployed 9 times. I said, "Your wife is hurting, isn't she?" He said, "Yeah." His family's falling apart. See, they need encouragement. They need us to gather around them and help them and support them. That's why we're here. I can't go over there anymore, but I have to do things here. And so we're able to do those things. When you die for other things, what you're doing is you're dying for a greater purpose. You're dying for a greater calling. You're dying for things, it's not about you anymore, it's about them. And so you begin to move forward in life. In writing this book, it opened up a lot of doors to me. I don't know why the good Lord allowed this to happen. I don't know how people allow me to come. But they want to know what I know, because I've learned some things in life. And I had to empty myself out when I wrote that book. And it covered a lot of aspects with how combat affects people in life. One thing it does, it starts to shut you down. Now, one of the bad stories in the book, my platoon had 48 Marines and Corpsmen in it. In one ambush, we lost 42 guys, dead and wounded that day. I was one of 6 who walked out of that deal. I became the platoon commander, lieutenant. But I didn't become a lieutenant that day. They just said, you take the guys. Well, I had 5 in my platoon. That was kind of a joke that day. I was a squad leader. They said, you got the platoon now. So for the day or so, I was a It's when bad things happen, you have to take the forefront. You can't wait for somebody else to do it. You've got the knowledge, you've got the rank, you've got the expertise, you've done it, you've got the experience, now just do it. And that's what the message of today is for the Vietnam veterans. We've sat on the sideline too long. 50 years, man. Some of us have sat there for 50 years. There's been a lot of people that sat on the shores of life waiting for their ship to come in, but they didn't understand that ships do not come to shore. You have to get your feet wet. You got to swim out to it sometimes. You have to motivate yourself. If you want things, you're going to have to fight for those things. So what we do when we go back into bases and such, and I'm going to tell you the truth, I do a lot of that. They don't pay me, unfortunately. It costs me. But it costs me a lot of emotional problems too, because I fight it every time I go. I walk out of there, feel like I'm beat up, because you're expending your own self when you do those things. You're revealing to them some of your most hidden secrets sometimes. Am I scared? I'm scared, man. Am I fearful? I'm fearful. When the wind blows around me, like the last 2 days, my heart about beat out of my chest. And some of you guys have been in combat on ground troops, you know this. You can't see your enemy on a windy day. And my brain still picks up on that thing. And when I see everything moving around me, my heart's like, calm down, man, calm down. Because it's causing another time with that post-trauma. What I found out about post-trauma, and maybe everybody knows this today, but when I was in trauma, whatever that trauma was, Colonel, I've never landed an airplane, by the way. That is traumatic. You know, you can say what you want to. I might be in the back seat, and I might have landed an airplane. That was dramatic. But being in the pilot seat is traumatic because he knows what's going on. So trauma is different. Trauma is a near-death episode that you at least think is near-death. A mortar round could land 100 yards from me, but to you, that's pretty close, man. And your heart is pumping and your brain is pumping. And as your brain begins to realize that you're in trouble in that traumatic experience, it began to pump adrenaline. That adrenaline is, God gave us that adrenaline to pump us up and give us that super speed, super strength, super energy, super everything. And so you're moving, you're rolling, you're jumping, all these things. And I've been in combat where we'd be going through the bush and we were moving and suddenly you hear a shot ring out, hi-ya, everybody hits a deck. Sniper. That's a bad sound in a jungle because you don't know where he's at. And if the wind's blowing, it's even worse than that. You got to find him. If you run, they're going to shoot you in the back. If you just say where you're at, they're going to shoot you in the head. They're going to pick you off. And so that guy's reloading right now. We got to find that dude. That's a dangerous, scary opportunity. And so your brain is like pumping adrenaline. Boom, 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 boom. And you are hyperventilating. You're hypervigilant. You're looking. You're staring. You're trying to find a whiff of smoke. You're trying to find something, any sign, a flash, anything. And so you're looking for it. Now they also say that with trauma, there's also a degree of anger mixed in that. So I'm looking for this guy, and then Pete crawls up next to me and he says, Clark, look at this 4-leaf clover I found. And I turn around and punch him in the face, and he says, you got anger problems. I said, no, you bothered me when I was having a panic attack here. So it comes with the territory, guys. It comes, you know. Anger is because I'm so focused on doing something, I don't need to be interrupted at this moment. That's what it is. Well, we got through it. We got the sniper. It's over with, done. 40 years later, 50 years later, I'm in Walmart, somebody dropped something. Oh, did me right there. It's like, but you hear a sound, a sight, a sound, a smell that is close to the trauma that you experience, whatever that trauma is. It could be anything. Your combat was different from my combat. I talked to a lady not long ago. She was telling me she was raped. And she said, she was telling me about this thing, and she was really sad and just tore up. But then she started saying, you know, it's kind of funny. She said, I don't even know why I thought about it. She said the other night, my husband was getting in bed. This is like 20 years later. My husband was getting in bed, and I smelled bologna. And the woman went off right there, the woman was telling me. And she said, I want to beat his face in, I want to jump on him, I want to punch him. The guy that was raping her had been eating bologna. To her, bologna is a trigger that makes her adrenaline pump because it takes her back to that episode. That is called post-trauma. Trauma, post-trauma. With me, it's a lot of different things, but my combat was different. Your combat is different. But understand, it's an adrenaline problem. There are certain ways to stop the adrenaline, and through oxygen is one of them. It'll help you to calm down, Vietnam veterans especially, but anybody sitting here today. If you're dealing with trauma and you're dealing with panic attacks, there are certain things you can do. I don't want anybody to get addicted, but I use a Vicks nasal inhaler a lot of times. Only when I'm having a panic attack. And what I do is I use this thing, and I've learned over time that it works, because what it does, it doesn't give me oxygen. What it does, it opens up my sinuses and nasal passages, and I get a good shot of oxygen through my nose and sinuses to my brain. My brain needed oxygen at that moment, and it helps me to calm down and move on out of Walmart or wherever I am. Over time, we learn a lot of things about life as we come out of trauma. These guys today don't know what we know, and so we have to go to them. I want to tell you just a few minutes of just what I do when I go into one of these bases, to one of these mental health units. And some of them, most of them are combat, they're coming back. But a lot of them have never been to combat. They're finding out in the military today that a lot of people going into the military are showing the same signs of post-trauma or post-traumatic stress as the guys coming back from Afghanistan and Iraq. How can that be? They've never been deployed. It's because they were raised in a battlefield sometimes, because their brain produced adrenaline for other things. People bullying, people hurting them, people doing different things. And we've got a lot of situations like that. How can we get to them? You got to get up and go out there to them. You got to make yourself known. You go and knock at some doors and say, I'm a Vietnam veteran. Can I help? That's what you do. Can I come in here and talk to somebody? You might have to give a little bit of a spill for somebody to get in there, but you can get in there. Or join an organization. Some of these organizations that are helping people out. Get out there and get your hands dirty. That's what you were trained to do. We were trained to fight. I was trained when the enemy attacks me, I attack the enemy. And that's what I go after. I want to tell you some of the things that I tell these young people. And I've got a paper back there on that desk like that you can pick up and take it with you. Some of the very things I tell them. I tell them, first of all, you're in the military, you're getting ready to get out, you're having emotional problems, they may have you on medications, and you're wondering, what is life going to be? Is this the best I'm going to do? My life is getting ready to end. There's a wall in front of me. So what I tell them, okay, I said the first thing you're going to have to understand, if you want to move on in life, you've got an opportunity right now. The military will help you with this. You've got to have a goal. You've got to pick out a goal. Where are you going to be in 10 years? Because you will be somewhere. Where do you want to be? And I've had those young military personnel to tell me they wanted a farm, they wanted a ranch, they wanted a house in the mountains, they wanted this. Well, get started on it, dude. You won't ever get there if you don't get started on it. Start making a bank account somewhere, a savings account. Put $10 a month in that thing and put on there the cabin or whatever you're going to do. Get a goal. And then you're going to have to educate yourself or get educated. You can go to a tech college. You can go to a community college. You can go to a university. You get online. But you're going to have to learn a few things about the profession you're going into. You can't wing it. I tried that. I was working 2 and 3 jobs sometimes. I was on drugs. I was on alcohol. And some of you guys the same deal. Because we tried to self-medicate ourselves. VA wasn't around that I know of. They weren't asking me to come. And I didn't feel like they wanted me anyway. And so they were overloaded with people. And so I just kind of winged it. And I think some of you probably did the same thing. Well, I didn't do such a great job. I worked. I had a family. I had home and had cars, and I looked normal, but on the inside, I was dying on the inside. I didn't care about living. I didn't care about nothing. Well, some things happened along the way. One thing, God just helped me one night. I came out of this darkness into the light, and God just let me have peace. First time in my life since Vietnam. The VA gave me medications and therapy, but God gave me peace and forgiveness, and I began to heal. But I still had a lot of problems because I had these mental issues that I had to deal with. When I go in there and talk to these young people, I have to tell them, get a goal, get educated, and then you have to move on. You have to focus on what you're going to be doing, because everything in the world is going to try to distract you from whatever you're going to focus on. So I tell them about focusing. I explain everything I just told you to them. And then I tell them, don't wait for people to fix you. You have to start moving yourself forward. One of the things that I tell them is, the only difference between you and the people you admire are the choices you make. If you would stop and think before you make a choice, you might make better choices. Better choices bring better results. And so we can get them just to stop and think about that. The only difference between me and Colonel down here is the choices he made and the choices I made. If I'd made some of the same choices that he's made along the way, I might have been in the military in my days, in my day. But because I made lesser choices, I ended up in a different place. We made a lot of bad choices, but we can tell them about making better choices. The other thing we tell them is, regardless of what has happened to us, every one of us today have a past. And a lot of it you wouldn't wish on nobody. But here's the point of that. You cannot allow your past to determine your future. At some point, don't wait for 40 years to do it either. At some point, you can draw the line between that and today and start moving forward. It's about what you want in life, not about that. Because if you allow that to govern your life, you'll never move forward. You'll be where you're at when you get to where you're going. You'll be there. So we tell these young people, we did the opposite. I did the opposite. I didn't get educated. I didn't go to college. I didn't do these other things, and I wish I had them. But what it did, it stumped me and put me into a place in life where I began just working 2 jobs, 3 jobs sometimes, trying to make a living, trying to do what I could to have a good life. But if I just stopped earlier and made some better choices, it could have changed all that. So what I tell these young ones is, make better choices. Don't allow your past to determine your future. And then I tell them, you must choose better friends. This is a big one. You got to choose better friends, because you will probably end up like the people you're hanging around. Everybody knows that, don't they? And when you get down the road somewhere, you won't have these friends now. I had one guy say, well, I don't want to lose all my friends. I said, you don't have to lose your friends. Just start doing what's right. They'll lose you. Because the only thing connected us was alcohol, mainly, and drugs. When I quit drinking, they didn't come around anymore. I thought they were my friends, man. One guy came around one time, my close friend, and he said, Ray, you're not drinking? I said, no, I gave it up. He said, I'm going to go get drunk. See you later, man. And that was the last time he came. See, when you start doing right, the wrong goes the other way. You just do right. That's what you tell these guys. You've got to do right. You say, well, I've got a lot of baggage on me. These young guys, I got a lot of baggage on me, man. I'm losing my family, I'm losing this, I got this, and I got that on me, and I'm doing this stuff, and it's like, but they said a guy went to a circus one day, and at the circus, before the show started, he was walking around looking at the animals. When he noticed this huge elephant standing there, and he went over and looked at him, he was a massive 8-ton elephant standing there, huge legs, just everything, and looking at him, and he noticed that the elephant was chained to the ground by a very small chain, like a dog chain. And he thought, this is crazy. I got to find somebody, because that elephant could run off and kill somebody. So he found the trainer, and he asked him, said, why in the world would you use such a small chain to hold such a large animal? And the trainer said, we put that chain on him when he was a baby. And as a baby, he pulled and he tugged. He was too weak. He couldn't break it. And eventually he gave up trying. Today he can break it, but he won't, because he doesn't know he can. He won't try. I've never found anything in my life that couldn't be broken if I tried hard enough. If I made a determination, if I made a conscious decision, I'm done, man. Stick a fork in me, because I'm done and I'm not doing this no more. And you began to walk away from things. I tell these young boys, there's a lot of people in mental health that will help you get off of anything you're on if you want to get off of it. You've got to move forward in that. And we're seeing people actually do this stuff. There's another thing that is called, it bothered me because it's called moral injury. That's another thing that hinders veterans, especially. When I was in combat, there was a thing called justifiable killing. Well, we did a lot of that kind of stuff. So did the enemy, by the way. But when I shot my enemy, and I've heard my buddies say the same thing, you shoot him, boom, boom, and he falls down. That's called justifiable homicide. God even made provisions for that in the Bible about law enforcement, military, people like that, because it's good guys trying to stop bad guys. The only problem was they thought they were good guys trying to stop us, but we were the good guys trying to stop them. So I shot him, and I don't feel bad about that. I still don't feel bad about that. We were in war. That's what I was paid to do. That's what I was doing. If I killed a few more, maybe I could have saved some of my friends' lives. And so, I don't know if I told you in the when I first started, but my last platoon, out of 48 of us, we took 42 casualties that day. Maybe some of those could have lived if we'd done things a little bit better, a little bit different. But I walked over to my enemy when he's laying there. Maybe he's bleeding out, maybe he already died. But I look at him, and because of the animosity, because of the anger, I put it into his face, and I go, and I put about 10 rounds in the face. I desecrated him. Now, that's not provided for. That's called desecration of the human body. I just whacked my conscience, man. It's like, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. My conscience, they say the conscience is that little part of you that feels bad when the rest of you feels good. You go, I'm the man. And your conscience says, you're a dirtbag. It's like, and it always calls you a dirtbag. I don't know why it is. But your conscience is always feeling bad. Well, I had a lot of those things in my life, and a lot of that came out of combat. One of my buddies said it was not the killing that bothered me, it's the way we killed some of them. Because we got a little carried away sometimes. I'm not talking about cutting, I'm not talking about that. We didn't do that stuff. But as far as killing people, there was no conscience. I said in my book, in Vietnam, we had to become as complacent as a corner butcher working on a fresh piece of beef. That's the way life is. That's the way combat is. And so you began to live like that. Well, to understand the conscience, it is 6 of the 10 commandments are born inside of us. Don't lie, don't steal, don't commit adultery, don't kill, and don't covet, and love your parents. That was 6 of them. There are the conscience inside of us, and when you do one of those things wrong, it whacks your conscience. It makes a kind of a rattle sound inside. They said in the 1950s, there was a guy who bought a brand new car. That brand new car was beautiful, it was fast, it was just, everybody wanted one like it. Only in the back seat there was a rattling noise. And the guy loved the car, but that rattling noise kept aggravating the life out of him. It's like he always heard it. So he rode around town with people in the back seat looking for that rattle sound. Couldn't find it. Took it to the dealership several times. They had people riding in the back seat all over town. They couldn't find it. What do you do? Man, it's a brand new car. You want it fixed. What do? Take it to the factory. So they took it to the factory. The factory, they built it. They know how it's supposed to work. They can clean it up. They can fix it. They will find out what the problem is. So they took it to the factory, and they took it in there, and they tore it in 1,000 pieces. And they found out inside the frame of the car, one of the line workers had put a Coke bottle with a note inside that said, I thought you'd never find me. Oh, that was cute. That little Coke bottle was rattling. Tick, 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 tick. Well, when it comes to the conscience that rattles inside of us, what do? I go to the priest, I go to the chaplain, I go to the pope, nobody fixes it. Take it to the factory. That's where you have to go. Take it to God. See, Vietnam veterans, we came out of thinking, wonder if God even cared about us. Do you know God was a Vietnam veteran? He is. He was there. I'll tell you what, you read my book, you'll find out he protected me a lot of times. Because my dad was asking him to. I think about my friends and I'm thinking, well, God let my friends die. No, I don't think so. I can't blame nobody but me because I wasn't asking him to take care of them. I was out there trying to do it myself. When you go to war, people do die. They say nobody wins a war, just one side loses more than the other. Well, we won the war, but we lost 59,000 men. So we still sit in that thing. One thing I will say about this, and I'm going to move on. But some people say, I think it was Ted Turner said, that Christianity or God is a crutch for weak people. I've never found that. I found out God is a stretcher for the wounded and dying. He carried me when I couldn't walk any further, when I couldn't go no further, and I'm sure some of you the same way. And somebody said one time, well, does God know what I'm dealing with and what I'm going through? All the misery, all the pain, all the memories. Well, somebody said one time, anybody can count the seeds in an apple, but only God can count the apples in the seed. Because you take one seed, you grow an apple tree. That apple tree will grow for 100 years if you take care of it, and it will produce 100,000 of apples. Pretty cool. God knows, He cares. Okay, I'm going to move on. I'm going to finish up with this one little story, and it's about the Civil War. It's about not giving up. One day in a battle during the Civil War, one side began taking a lot of heavy losses. And so the general of that army wrote up to his young teenage bugler, a boy 14 years old, never been in combat before. He'd only been in the army for a month. And the boy was traumatized, and he stood there, and the general shouted to him, "Sound retreat, we've got to pull back." The boy just looked at the colonel, the general like a deer in the headlights, didn't know what to do. The general shouted it again, "I said sound retreat, boy, my men are being cut down like grass." The boy said, "Sir, I can't do it." The general was stunned. He jumped off his horse, ran over to him, grabbed him, slapped him, shook him, said, "I said sound retreat, boy, my men are dying." The boy said, "Sir, I can't do it." He said, "Why can't you do it?" He said, "I've not been taught how." The general said, "Boy, we're dying, do something." So the general jumped on his horse and rode back into the battle. The boy stood there for a few seconds, and he thought, well, I can't do nothing. He wanted to run, but he stood there. So he put the bugle to his lips. He started playing the only song he'd learned in that month, and that was Charge. He played it over and over. In the middle of a retreat, he'd play in Charge. Well, it turned out that the men on the front lines heard him, and they thought reinforcements had arrived. So they began fighting like wild men. The enemy also heard him, and they thought the other side's reinforcements had arrived, so great fear fell upon them, and some of those started cutting and running. The wounded out on the ground, like me and you, laying out there, wounded, hurt, laying there, don't want to fight anymore, I just want to lay here and die. They heard him, they thought reinforcements had arrived, so those who could got up and rejoined the fight. The men hiding out in the woods, afraid to die, heard him. They thought reinforcements had arrived, so they became more afraid of being caught by their own men running. So they got up and returned to the battle. The battle turned that day, and they won, because that boy had never learned the song of retreat. God, we've been taught how to fight. We haven't been taught how to retreat. They never taught me how to run. I will tell you one thing, if you have to run, don't throw your gun down. That's the important thing. I see people do that. You need that gun. The Marine Corps taught me when the enemy attacks, you attack the enemy. We've got a different enemy today. We got one that's trying to destroy our military. Camp Lejeune's got a high rate of suicide. I'm sure Seymour Johnson, I'm sure all of them are dealing with this kind of thing, because a lot of these young people are giving up hope because nobody's there to help them. I encourage every one of you, please, help these guys out. They need help. They need us. We're great contributors. Thank you so much for allowing me to come.
We are back on Wayne Goldsboro Television on this Tuesday. It's morning right now, but later today it'll be afternoon.
That's right. And this evening it'll be tonight.
Yes! Isn't that funny how that works?
Oh.
Okay, Center Stage Theater presents Fiddler on the Roof. If I were a rich man. Come on, Kate.
I love it.
Jump
No,
in,
thank
girl.
you.
Oh,
I can
okay.
shrug my shoulders.
There we go. April 29th is when that begins. You will enjoy this program, April 29th, beginning at evening time and going on until a later date, a later time, until May 1st, April 29th to May 1st. Tickets are $15 to $18. It's just a fantastic musical. It's a fantastic musical, award-winning and all that stuff. Also, and that's at, of course, the Paramount Theater. You can get tickets, or you can get information going to GoldsboroParamount.com, GoldsboroParamount.com, or you can call 919-583-8432.
Great.
583-8432. Also, the first annual Center Street Car Show coming up. Oh boy, the Wayne County Cruisers and the Southeastern AACA chapter excited to present the North Carolina Region Spring Meet and Center Street Car Show. That's on April 30th. April 30th, featuring classic and collector cars from across North Carolina and beyond. The event will begin at 9 a.m. with cars lined up along Center Street, in the John Street parking lot, on Center Street, and a whole lot of other places there. You will not want to miss this exciting event. It's coming up soon, April 30th. And if you want to know more about it, you can go to the website WayneCountyCruisers.com. WayneCountyCruisers.com.
That's going to be a cool event. That's going to be a cool event.
I love cars anyway, and that's going to be a great event.
Yeah, that'll
You're
be
right.
great.
Okay, today's trivia question. In what Ohio city would you find the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And in fact, they're getting ready to induct some new members into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know who they are? Or do they not announce until
Well,
it's announced?
they announced it, and I forgot already who they
okay.
were. But
They're going to be good.
well, that was hours ago when I
It'll
heard
be
that.
good.
Yeah, it'll be very good, and they're all deserving, in my opinion. Those that I heard. Do you know the city?
I do, I think.
What do you?
I've made the mistake before of saying it.
That's okay. Yes.
Cleveland. I'm now paranoid.
Yes, it is Cleveland.
I think twice now.
No,
I'm very
look.
It's the answer is, and then I say it, and it's like dead silence, and it's like, oh, that's not it.
No. Look, as much as I goof up, come on, girl. You know, and I don't get embarrassed much. Yeah, maybe I do. But anyway, regardless of all that. Anyway, yes, it is Cleveland, Ohio, the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Boogie Woogie. There you go. Oh boy, oh boy.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Oh boy, oh boy.
This Thursday, downtown at Ed's Southern Foods.
Hey.
If you've had a chance to go there, you'll know what a great experience, dining experience you'll have. We are going to be celebrating with them with an official ribbon cutting at 3:30. So on the 14th, which is this Thursday, come out for the ribbon cutting at 3:30 as they officially cut the ribbon, and you can see their great space, and they've expanded into the old drugstore.
I was going to mention that, yeah.
Which is quite remarkable.
It is
and,
remarkable.
It is filled with history, and the design that maintained the absolute beauty of historic Goldsboro Drug Company, which so many people remember. And one of the first things they do is they look down and they see the original floor.
Yes.
And you hear the, oh, thank you for doing this. It's
Yes.
a beautiful building.
Yeah.
And upstairs are two incredible apartments that have recently been completed right before the North Carolina Main Street, and owners Jim and Jeff Daniels will be having an open house. This is being put on with the DGDC.
Great.
And so from 4 to 6. So here's the cool thing.
Okay.
Come for a ribbon cutting at 3:30.
Right?
Right?
Right.
Come see Ed's.
Right.
Go upstairs. Go tour some apartments.
Wow.
Here's the next thing you should do. Come back downstairs. Go to Ed's.
Have dinner, yeah.
Appetizers.
What a great
drink,
idea.
whatever.
Yeah.
But that'll be a great event to be able to view these new apartments downtown that are overlooking the beautiful fountain downtown.
Yes.
And the great things going on.
That is something I just absolutely love, is what's being done to downtown Goldsboro, and these new apartments that are going in down there. And these refurbished apartments upstairs, they're all over the place. And people don't realize how many places there are to live
That's right.
in downtown Goldsboro. Bill Edgerton's place up the street here is just fantastic. He's got some beautiful apartments there, and they're all over the city.
That's right.
All you have to do is find. You want to live in downtown Goldsboro and maybe enjoy some of the nightlife and that sort of thing, or just live in downtown Goldsboro.
And walk into the stores and stuff.
Walking to the stores, yeah.
You can, a lot of, I mean, you know, you can find many on your own, but I would certainly advise contacting the DGDC.
Yeah.
And their entire staff is wonderful, and they can help connect you with the right people to speak to and make it happen. And if you're interested in locating a business, they're the contact there. And if you're looking to start a business or relocate a business anywhere in Wayne County, the Wayne County Chamber of Commerce is here to support you. And we've got the Wayne County Development Alliance, which is Crystal Geddes over
Right.
there is doing wonderful things.
She
and
is.
Looking at bringing in industry and business into our community. So we got a lot of great partners throughout the community, and it's a lot of times people ask me a question, and I'm like, you know, I send you over here, and people send them our way, and we work very well together, and I'm very thankful.
You know, the other night we had an event at the Paramount Theater, and somebody was commenting on me about how much they enjoyed that particular event. But when they said, but you know what? When we got there, we got out of our cars, and the whole street lit up at that time, at that moment. You know, they turned the lights on.
Yeah.
And they were amazed at how Goldsboro downtown looked. It's beautiful.
Did you say it was because you opened your car door and all of a sudden everybody went, ah?
Yes. Well,
He's arrived.
my car door and the lights come on too. What are you going to do? You know? But no, they said the lights came on the street and the trees all lit up, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And I tell you what, our Center Street is just a gorgeous place to be, and it's being used. The people of the city and the county are actually congregating and meeting and enjoying downtown Goldsboro.
Right.
Oh yeah, and it is. It's nice. It's nice. You got to
nice.
you got to try it.
It's nice.
You got to try it. That's right. It's nice. It's nice. Go Wayne, go.
Go, go, go.
Okay, well wait. I'll leave in a minute.
Go,
okay?
go, go.
Go, 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 Wayne. Go. Coming up. Let's see. Today is the, and we don't have a.
Well, their most recent walk was this past Saturday at the Pig in the Park. They met that morning
Yes.
and had a great showing and love seeing all these bright neon green shirts. So if you want to learn more information, you can go online and learn more about that great initiative.
Piggle in the Parkle.
Piggle in the Parkle.
That's the one right there. Yep. That's
How about
right.
pickles?
Pickles.
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 We'll talk some more about that tomorrow. How about that?
Are we out of time?
I think so.
Are we out of time? Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. Well, maybe we've gone a little long here. All right. Anyway, yeah. There's our email addresses at the bottom of the screen. If you have, for some reason, you want to write and say something bad to us, Kate's address. Is
Oh,
Kate
come on.
D. You know, if you want to complain about something, huh? What? Anyway, Kate D at WayneCountyChamber.com. If you want to say something nice, it's Wayne.Alley at WayneGoldsboro.com. You know how you have an option sometimes of yes and no, or I'll vote for this person, I'll vote for that person, so you have a different phone number, different email.
Yeah.
Isn't that how
I hear what you're doing, man.
Okay, girl. All right, we'll be back in here tomorrow. I hope you're able to join us at that time. We'll begin at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then we will continue with a repeat of this program at noon, then a repeat at 5:30 p.m. Until then, I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kate Daniels.
And this is Wayne Goldsboro Television.